I hunt monsters in America. Not ghosts, not demons. Things with teeth. Things that bleed. Things that learn. Last fall, a sheriff called me about missing hikers in a small mountain town. He thought it was bears. It wasn't bears. I found a clearing filled with bones arranged in a spiral. That's when I knew someone had broken the fifth rule. And when the fifth rule gets broken, something comes back to fix the mistake. This time, it wasn't just hunting people, it was studying us. People don't use the word monster anymore. They say wild animal. They say escaped exotic. They say drug lab experiment. They never say what it actually is. My name's Caleb Turner. I'm 38, and for the last 14 years I've hunted things the government pretends don't exist. I don't work for a secret agency. I don't wear a badge. I don't salute anyone. I get calls from sheriffs who speak carefully, from county officials who don't want headlines, from families who just want whatever is in their woods gone. I hunt monsters in America, and I follow 5 rules. If I didn't, I'd already be dead. The call that made Rule 5 permanent came from northern West Virginia. Small logging town, population under 2,000. The kind of place where everyone knows what truck you drive before you do. 3 hikers missing in 6 weeks. Search parties found torn packs, blood in the leaves, no bodies. Official reports said bear activity. Bears don't stack bones. That's what the deputy told me when he called. Stack them how? I asked. Like someone arranged them, he said. That's when I loaded silver. You learn quick that silver isn't superstition. It disrupts cellular regeneration in certain species, burns like acid from the inside. Government labs confirmed it decades ago. They buried the reports. I drove through rain most of the night and reached the logging road just before dawn. Deputy Mark Harlan was waiting beside his cruiser, chewing tobacco and looking like he hadn't slept. "You alone?" he asked. "No," I said. "Never alone in the woods." He frowned. That was Rule 3. But we'll get there. He led me half a mile past the marked trail. The forest was too quiet. Not natural quiet. Held breath quiet. Then I saw it. A clearing no bigger than a living room. In the center, bones arranged in a spiral. Cleaned. Stacked. Placed with intention. "Bear?" I asked. Harlan shook his head slowly. I crouched and examined the ground. No paw prints, no drag marks. Just deep impressions, like something heavy standing upright. Clog, but balanced. That's Rule 1. Never assume it moves like an animal. I scanned with thermal. Nothing close, but something had been here recently. The soil was still warm where it had knelt. "Where were the hikers found?" I asked. "Not found," Harlan said. That was the problem. Most predators leave something behind. This one didn't. We tracked deeper into the timberline. I kept my shotgun loaded with dipped slugs, silver core, polymer jacket, hand-packed, expensive, worth it. About an hour in, Harlan stopped walking. "You hear that?" I did. Breathing. Not ours. Slow. Measured. Behind us. I turned, raising the thermal monocular. Heat signature. Tall. Still. Watching. That's Rule 2. If it's watching, it's not hunting yet. I motioned for Harlan to step left. He didn't move fast enough. The creature stepped forward, 7 feet if it was an inch, lean, pale skin stretched over muscle. No fur, no wolf shape. This wasn't a werewolf. This was something engineered. Its jaw opened wider than it should have, not snarling, studying. You ever see one like that? Harlan whispered. No, I said. That was the honest answer. It tilted its head like it was deciding whether we were worth the trouble. Then it moved. Fast. Not charging. Circling. That's when I saw the second heat signature. Opposite side of the clearing. Back to back, I said quietly. Harlan turned pale. 2? At least. Rule 3 exists because they don't travel alone anymore. The second one stepped into view. Same build, same unnatural proportions, eyes too reflective, veins dark under thin skin. Government mistake, that was my guess. They started closing distance slowly, testing angles. Predators calculate risk. We tightened formation. Shoot when I shoot, I told Harlan. The first creature lunged. I fired center mass. Silver hit. It screamed, not animal sound, something closer to metal scraping glass. It staggered but didn't fall. The second came from the side, leaping higher than it should have been able to. Harlan fired early, missed. The first one recovered instantly and slammed into Harlan. They hit the ground hard. I pivoted, aimed for the spine and fired again. Impact. It convulsed and collapsed over Harlan. The second creature stopped moving. Not retreating, watching, learning. That's when you understand intelligence is worse than instinct. It took one step back, then vanished into the tree line. Not fleeing, relocating. I pulled the body off Harlan. He was breathing, barely. Deep gashes across his vest, but not through. Get to your cruiser, I said. He didn't argue. I scanned the woods again. Nothing. But the silence wasn't empty. It was waiting. Rule 4 says don't chase what withdraws unless you're certain it's alone. I wasn't certain. We dragged the body of the creature back to the logging road. Its skin had already begun tightening, hardening. Manufactured tissue. I'd seen classified photos once. This matched too closely. Harlan sat against his cruiser, shaking. You said 5 rules, he muttered. Yeah. 2? At least. 4, I said quietly. He looked at me. What's the 5th? I looked back toward the forest, where the second one disappeared. That's the one that matters most, I said, because somewhere in those trees, something was adapting, and Rule 5 exists for a reason. Harlan wanted to call it in. I told him not to, not yet, because Rule 4 doesn't just mean don't chase, it also means don't announce. Whatever retreated into those trees wasn't running, it was repositioning. Creatures like that test boundaries. They probe, they watch how you react. If we flooded the woods with sirens and deputies, it would adapt faster. We loaded the dead one into the bed of my truck. I covered it with a tarp and sprayed neutralizer over the blood. The smell of silver-burned tissue spreads. Others can track it. Harlan leaned against the cruiser, still pale. You think there's more? He asked. Yes. How many? I don't know, I said, but not just 2. Because here's something people don't understand. Predators that evolve in isolation move in pairs or small packs. Predators that are created move in units, and units have objectives. That body in my truck, that wasn't a random forest thing. That was field tested. I told Harlan to keep deputies out of the woods for 24 hours. Tell the town it's active bear activity, lock down trails, keep civilians inside after dark. He hesitated. You're staying? Yes. Alone. He drove off. The forest swallowed the sound of his cruiser in seconds. That's when the real hunt started. I parked my truck facing the logging road for quick exit, checked ammunition, 6 silver slugs, 3 backup mags for the sidearm, 2 thermals, 1 flare gun. Sun was dropping. Creatures like that prefer low light. Their pupils overexpand. I've seen autopsy photos. I climbed a ridge overlooking the bone clearing, wind at my back. Bad position, but it was the only high ground. And then I waited. Waiting is the worst part of this job, because silence in the woods isn't empty. It's full of intention. An hour passed, then 2. Nothing moved. No birds, no insects. Then my thermal flickered. Movement. Tree line east side. 1 heat signature. Then another. Then a third. 3. They stepped into the clearing slowly, studying the spiral of bones. 1 crouched, touched the ground where the first one died. They communicate without sound, subtle body shifts, posture adjustments. I counted 4 now. The 4th stayed back. That's the leader. Rule 3 should have been amended that night, because they don't just travel in packs, they travel in hierarchies. The leader lifted its head, looked directly toward my ridge. It shouldn't have seen me. Wind was wrong, light was low, but its head angled perfectly. And then it did something I've never seen before. It mimicked my stance, straightened its spine, squared its shoulders, mirrored me. That's when I understood. These weren't just engineered predators. They were designed to learn from confrontation. The leader took 1 slow step toward the ridge. The other stayed, waiting for instruction. That's when I broke Rule 4. I fired. The silver slug hit the leader in the chest, direct. It didn't scream like the first one. It looked surprised, then furious. The others scattered instantly, splitting into flanking angles. That's military training behavior. The leader didn't fall. It absorbed the shot, stumbled, recovered. Adaptation already in progress. I fired again, this time at the knee joint. It collapsed partially, balance compromised. The others were climbing the ridge now, too fast. I dropped from my position and retreated downhill, firing at movement rather than bodies. Silver hit one in the shoulder. It shrieked and tumbled. Another leapt from a fallen tree and nearly closed the distance. I switched to sidearm, 2 shots to the skull. It dropped, but not instantly. They don't shut down like animals. They fight until structure fails. I reached the truck just as one slammed into the tailgate. Metal buckled, claws punched through steel. I grabbed the flare gun and fired point blank into its chest. Phosphorus ignited its tissue. It screamed and staggered back, burning from the inside. The leader was limping toward me now, chest smoking from the silver impact, eyes locked. Not wild, not feral, calculating. I climbed into the truck bed and pulled the tarp off the dead body. The leader froze. Recognition. That's when I realized the final piece. Rule 5 isn't about killing. It's about denying retrieval. If they recover their dead, they learn faster. Tissue samples, genetic feedback, field data. I grabbed a canister from the toolbox, military surplus thermite, illegal in 3 states. I doused the corpse. The leader lunged. I struck the igniter. White heat exploded across the body. Thermite burns at over 4,000 degrees. There's no recovery from that. The leader stopped mid-stride, watched as its fallen unit turned into liquid slag. The others halted behind it. For the first time, hesitation. That's what Rule 5 means. If you encounter something engineered, you don't just kill it, you erase it. Because if even 1 cell makes it back to wherever it came from, next time they'll fix the weakness. The leader made a sound then. Low, resonant. Not rage, communication, retreat order. They backed into the tree line slowly, eyes on me the entire time. Not defeated, not afraid, learning. I didn't pursue. I don't break Rule 5 twice in one night. The forest swallowed them. Silence returned. But it wasn't the same silence. It was a promise. I burned the remains until nothing recognizable remained. Then I scattered the residue into the ravine. No retrieval, no upgrade, no version 2. Harlan returned at dawn with coffee and questions. I told him it was handled. He looked at the scorched clearing. You sure? No, I said honestly. Because here's the part they don't put in reports. If something retreats intelligently, it doesn't just exist. It relocates, it recalculates, it waits for better odds. 3 hikers are still missing, no bodies ever found. I filed my report through channels that don't officially exist. 2 weeks later, a contact inside a defense subcontractor sent me a single encrypted message. Project discontinued. That doesn't mean destroyed, just moved. Somewhere else in America, there's probably another small town with missing pets, strange tracks, bones arranged in patterns. And someone local will blame bears. I keep my truck fueled, my silver stocked, my thermite dry. Because I hunt monsters in America, and the 5th rule exists for a reason. Erase the evidence, or next time, they erase you.